One of the ways that I like to practice is I will sequence in the most important thing first. I'll front load those, and then I'll save like the fun stuff that requires less brain power for the end. So this is when I would do like several hours of practicing a day. I would focus at the beginning on, here are the things that I'm like really bad at that I need to work on to improve for my lesson on marimba or whatever. And then get into, okay, here are some of the basic stuff that I need to work on just to like improve my technique, specifically like work on isolated one-handed rolls or something on marimba. And then it's like, okay, now I'm getting towards the end of the practice session and my brain is a little bit like, just like, whoa, I'm pretty out of it. I've been going for like a few hours straight. At the end, it'd just be like, all right, what's something fun that I can play to continue to improve or work on my endurance or work on my chops, etc. that doesn't necessarily require brain power. So like playing like triplet diddle at like 200 plus beats a minute just for funsies, as opposed to sitting there and refining it and like, let's really go work through every one of the strokes, etc. The way you get that data to figure out what exactly do I need to do is by analyzing your recordings or playing faster than you currently can. So like if you can play something at 100 beats a minute, try it at 110 or 120, record yourself playing that and figure out where was it breaking down. Was it a mental thing? Am I not able to process it fast enough? Like, am I not able to think right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, like paradiddles fast enough? Or is it like a physical thing? Was I tensing up like too much right here in the wrist? Was my fulcrum too tight? Was my wrist locking up? Whatever. All of those things, when you're playing something fast for 5 to 10% of your practice session, give you that data to figure out, okay, what do I need to work on next time when I'm refining stuff? So that's what I'd recommend to figure out, like what order of operations should I go in when working on something. So if you sequence your practice schedule for the most important things that you need to refine to improve, then like let's say you get a phone call midway through, you're not going to be like, oh, I have to leave now, I didn't get to that most important thing that I need to work on, like my grace note spacing or height or whatever it is. But also it just takes into account that your level of focus and attention diminishes over time. But one of the things that you can do to help with that is to actually take frequent breaks. So one of the things that I do is a 50-10 split. So I'll work 50 minutes straight on something, and then I'll take a 10-minute break where I'll go like walk on the treadmill or move or stretch or meditate or whatever, and then I come back to what I'm working on. So same thing with your playing. So you could take a 10-minute stretch break, or you could just go take a walk, get a water break, go outside, touch grass, etc., and then come back and continue to work on it. That can actually extend your practice sessions to make it so that you can go longer, because you're not doing several hours straight of the same thing over and over, which is what I tended to do. And by the end of the day, I was just like I was a zombie, because just like mentally I was focused for too long. But hand-wise, it also can help like get rid of some of the exhaustion that comes with playing too much or over an extended period of time. But a good sign to stop playing is if like you start to experience pain. So dull pain is okay, but sharp pain is a clear like no, stay away from that. In terms of like the mental exhaustion, when to stop playing, you'll reach a point where like you're starting to like make progress, you'll start to plateau, and then you'll just get like really bad over time. The other day I was playing through Blue Devils 2000 spree and RCC's Mori spree. It was just terrible. I was making so many mental mistakes and whatnot. What I should have just done is just like, if I wanted to continue to practice, just really just slow it down and just sit there and refine what I can in that moment and accept the loss of like, I'm not going to be able to play this at like 120 or whatever I was trying to do in that particular stream. Every day is going to be different, but if you front load like the most important thing at the start of it, then you can at least make progress on the things that's going to help you in the long term. I would argue that practicing and focusing on the muscles isn't necessarily as important as practicing and focusing on the mental side of things. Most of my mistakes are mental. Like when I was playing the cheese cha-cha-chas, like warming up, like talking while playing these really messes me up. If your brain is thinking about something other than what you're playing in the moment, that's also going to mess you up. Like I've told the story where like I was in the lot. There was this a bass drummer who was like kept screwing up. And one of the techs that worked for me like went up to that drumline's instructor and was like, hey, that bass that's messing up is chewing their gum. And so the instructor's like, hey, can you go spit that out? And then they stopped screwing up. It's just like it sounds silly, but like the brain was having one less thing to process, and then they were able to focus more on their playing rather than like moving their mouth and whatnot. So the more that you can focus on the mental side of things, that's where you get the consistency, and that's where you get better over time. There's a framework that I use, time, energy, attention, thinking about those things in relationship to your practice session. So how much time do you have will impact like what are you going to focus on? Are you going to spend 5 minutes working on this thing? Are you going to be able to spend 30 minutes working on this thing, etc.? The energy side of things, like if you are very tired and lethargic like I was the other day when I was playing those shopping sprees, well then okay, maybe I should just focus on something tedious or like endurance training, etc., like working with these heavy sticks and just like playing fast or something, as opposed to sitting there and trying to refine it. Then the attention is like, am I like squirrel, or am I like really able to focus on stuff and like record something and like look at it in like halftime speed and just like really analyze the technique, etc. All of those things, the time, energy, attention, work, and will have an impact on how are you going to practice, what are you going to do in your practice session, etc. I guess another thing that I could add on to this is like the importance of rest. So with rest, you really got to focus on, am I letting the inflammation go down in my hands? Like whether it's like elevating your arms for like 10 minutes or something, or like icing your forearms, etc. Am I stretching and massaging, giving my muscles that time to recover? Because if all you do is just work, like if you're doing all days, like in drum corps, or if you're like WGI or even just marching band and you drum all day every day like I used to, if you don't give yourself that downtime to rest, your muscles over time will just kind of like break down in terms of like not being able to get that time to recover and repair itself. So I highly recommend focusing on the recovery side of things and looking into like exercise science or physiology, sports kinesiology, even sports psychology stuff is really helpful, going back to the focus stuff. All of those things can inform and improve your own performing and playing, etc. But like I have on the bookshelf behind this setup a bunch of books on like sports psychology and whatnot, and just like overall health, because holistically speaking, if you take care of yourself, it's going to have a profound impact on your recovery. So like the food that I eat is designed in a way to provide the proper nutrition for me to become healthier than I currently am. Water that I drink throughout the day, like a couple of these, is trying to help flush my systems of things that negatively impact like my focus, etc. All of these things have a profound impact on like how physically I'm feeling, but also mentally how I'm able to focus or not. Like if I only got 4 hours of sleep versus 8 hours of sleep, or if I ate really bad food versus really good food, all these things compound over time and can have a severely positive or negative effect on your body. This is what the pros do. So like my PhD's in music education. So like I've read a ton of research on what it takes to develop skills and expertise in a domain, mainly around music, but also like sports in general and whatnot. This is what like Olympic level athletes actually do to try and improve, is they really are regimented with, here's how much I practice, here's what I practice, here's when I take my hour-long nap in the middle of the day, and then I practice some more, but I do more mental imagery in the afternoon, so that way I don't get injured. Like all these little things, like I'll add up, in addition to like the nutrition and the sleep and like stress management by like getting massages or doing yoga, etc. Like they all work together to either help you or not. Like if you spend your day getting a diet of all the negative, horrible things going on in the world, that'll have an impact on your attention, etc., compared to if you don't read the negative internet comments or you don't spend your time in like doom scrolling, etc. That will potentially free up your mind to have more focus. Rest time often equates to progression on something. So sometimes you might be working on something for an extended period of time. Like let's say you spend a couple of hours just working on refining your Flam 5s and you feel like you're just getting diminishing returns, things don't get better. When you sleep on it, it gives your brain that time to process things. So if you practice something and you feel like you're not making progress on it, sometimes you just literally need to sleep on it and then you'll be better in the morning. Or you might need to sleep on it multiple days, gives your brain like more time to process it, keep working on it, keep refining it for like a few days or a few weeks straight, and then eventually something will just click. Paradiddles, like it used to be like I could play it only like this fast, and like one day I woke up and I could play it like this fast, and then after more months then I could play it faster, etc. So like there's this thing with your brain with repeated processes. You develop this thing called automaticity because of myelination, which is like a coding of the axons in terms of like going from neuron to neuron. They're all connected with each other. It creates this like coding the sheath that basically makes it from like a single lane highway to like double wide or like a 5-lane highway. It makes it so that you can do things faster and more efficiently, more effectively, because your brain has processed it more over time. That develops around 50 hours of work on something, and that process of automaticity is key to being able to play. So like when I was playing through cheese cha-cha-chas earlier, if I had tried playing like a cheese cha-cha-cha for the first time while talking, like, good luck. My brain wouldn't be able to do that because I hadn't developed the automaticity, that axonal coding, the myelination process, to be able to just put it on autopilot. Same thing with playing. Like, eventually, over time, what used to be requiring all of your mental capacity, now you can like play the drum kit and rap at the same time and sing, or talk to somebody else while you're playing something that used to require like all of your mental bandwidth.